Shedeur Sanders' humiliating tumble from a projected first-round pick in last month's NFL Draft to the Cleveland Browns with the 144th selection led his fiercely proud father Deion to cry for just the second time in his adult life. As a sources close to the Sanders family told FanDuel podcaster Skip Bayless, the 57-year-old Hall of Fame cornerback and Colorado head coach had not cried since his previously revealed suicide attempt in 1997. The two sports stars' first marriage was coming to an end as he was attempting an MLB comeback with the Cincinnati Reds, and in the midst of his depression, Deion drove his car off a steep cliff, only to survive without any life-threatening injuries. Since then, the elder Sanders has dedicated himself to his Christian faith and focused on raising his children, several of whom he coached when they played high school football in the Dallas area. Shedeur and his brother Shiloh both went on to play for Coach Prime at Jackson State in Colorado before declaring for the NFL Draft, where Shiloh would go unselected. He has since signed with Tampa as an undrafted free agent. As always, Deion remained his son's biggest cheerleader throughout the pre-draft process. But when the Buffaloes coach told podcaster and former ESPN star Dan Patrick that there were a lot of teams Shedeur didn't want to play for, NFL insiders decided to teach Deion and his son a lesson, according to Bayless. He wouldn't name the teams, but he said he would help navigate his son to the best fit for his son at the top of the draft. Bayless said before referencing a similar situation with retired New Orleans Saints quarterback Archie Manning and his highly touted son, Eli, before the 2004 NFL Draft. So yeah, Deion indicated he'd go Archie Manning on the draft, Bayless said, recalling the elder Manning's efforts to prevent the Chargers from taking his son with the top pick. Remember, Archie once navigated Eli out of San Diego to New York and the Giants. I still believe, as I said before, that interview, those statements, were what most turned the NFL against Shedeur and Deion. That Deion dared to compare himself and his situation to the beloved first family of football, the Mannings, that's when I believe the NFL pretty much said in colluding unison, "Oh yeah, watch this Deion." Bayless claims he isn't alone in this belief. In fact, he thinks Deion realized this during the draft, which is why he found himself crying over Shedeur's tumble from day 1 to day 3. That's why Deion cried after the draft, because he realized he'd just talked too much, too positively much, about his son's potential greatness, that he, Deion, inspired too much jealousy and too much resentment, and that he helped put his son through a 3-day ringer of shame. I mean, he is Deion Sanders, Neon Deion, Coach Prime. Anything he says will hit with 10 tons more impact than any other coach in this country, Bayless continued. I'm talking college or pro coach. Deion knows that for a fact, so he cried over what his son had to endure over those 3 days, 2 nights, and a day. Bayless then turned his focus back to an earlier topic, his belief that Las Vegas Raiders minority owner and Shedeur mentor Tom Brady told his team's front office not to draft his former pupil. The former 6th-round pick has denied having anything to do with the Raiders' draft plans, but Bayless rejected that claim while calling Brady a two-faced hypocrite. Now I'm hoping Shedeur Sanders proves Tom Brady almost as wrong as Brady proved everyone who failed to draft him until the 6th round, said Bayless. Cleveland Browns rookie minicamp has wrapped, and former Colorado Buffaloes superstar Shedeur Sanders has impressed not only on the field but also with the media and fans. Sanders has galvanized his rookie teammates, according to a prominent analyst. Cleveland Browns rookie minicamp has been completed, and former Colorado Buffaloes superstar Shedeur Sanders has impressed not only on the field but also through his interactions with the media and fans. One of, if not the most, critiqued aspects of Shedeur's pre-draft evaluations was how the media storm would affect an organization and how Sanders specifically would operate under that continuous spotlight. Albeit a small sample size, Sanders is proving to be able to handle himself one interview, press conference, community visit, and social media post at a time. National television host Emmanuel Acho, who is a former NFL player himself, took notice to that facet of Shedeur's post-draft stint so far. As the field will always be the most important factor, The way Sanders is navigating what was seen as a negative coming in has been impressive. I don't think I've been more fond of Shedeur than I am right now, former NFL player and current Fox analyst Emmanuel Aiko said. And not just what he said post-presser, but even on social media. I'm scrolling social media late last night after watching the games. It was a picture of the whole rookie squad. I think the team is gathering around and galvanized by Shedeur, especially the rookies. Another interesting topic broached by Aiko was the fact that Shedeur himself is customarily a somewhat reserved man. On the field, Sanders is as eclectic and competitive as they come. Off the field, he doesn't speak very often. Sanders has a podcast with relatively modest engagement and often appears on the well-off media vlogs via YouTube, but that's no different than any other player in modern athletics. Rarely is Sanders delivering a message. If we're being honest, Shedeur doesn't talk that much. It's the people around Shedeur that do all the talking. Yeah, Shedeur has held his wrist up, but I couldn't care less about that. It's a lot of people in the camp. But what I've heard about Shedeur at this juncture in time, I'm loving what I'm seeing, Aiko said to close the segment. While Shedeur is just now beginning his journey in the National Football League, he's certainly making bright impressions that surpass all the pre- and post-draft narratives. Most people just wanted to see how he'd fare on his own a court away from Colorado coach Deion Sanders. For as great as that display and connection were, all good things must come to an end. Shedeur's left the nest and appears to be flying just fine so far. The Browns are a little more than 2 weeks away from the first full team activities with both the rookies and vets combined. The true beginnings start then, but the test run before the lights get even brighter couldn't have gone much better for Shedeur.